Welcome back, sisters. At this point, it's important to define the term underearner and describe the specific traits that characterize the personality profile collectively referred to as classic underearner, since we use it a lot in this program. Underearning is so common, it has a 12-step support group. The fellowship's literature says this about underearning. Underearning is many things, not all of which are about money. While the most visible consequence is the inability to provide for one's needs, including future needs, underearning is also about the inability to fully acknowledge and express our capabilities and competencies. It is about underachieving or underbeing, no matter how much money we make. Research tells us that the gender pay gap is made much worse by the fact that many more women than men display traits of classic underearners. Overall, underearners don't feel comfortable having or asking for money. They undervalue their contributions and feel negatively toward money itself. All of this makes it difficult, if not impossible, for classic underearners to apply for senior roles in whatever their personal context is. It's been estimated that about 40% of women classify as underearners. That is double the rate of men. Although both men and women can be classic underearners, it is more common among women because so many of the traits fall within the gender stereotype of feminine behavior. Most of us have been programmed to think like classic underearners because previously we've been taught. That is the feminine way. In the course of this program, you will learn to change your thinking while feeling even more feminine and powerful. In this video, we'll cover how to recognize the thoughts and feelings of a classic underearner. Do you feel like people with a lot of money probably got rich by taking unfair advantage of others? Were you raised to believe that money is the root of all evil? Or that focusing on money is just plain greedy and wrong? Perhaps you were taught that it's impolite to even discuss money. For eons, it was considered that women shouldn't even be dealing with money, that dealing with financial matters is a man's job. Most commonly, around the world, not only were there laws against women working outside their homes, being given loans, or owning property. Women were the legal property of their family or their husband. All of this leads a lot of us to have psychological barriers that prevent us from feeling comfortable and confident about money. Even if you recognize that those attitudes are wrong, they are so ingrained that they can cause us to subconsciously self-sabotage. We neglect to take the fairly simple, straightforward actions we need to accomplish in order to maximize our salaries and improve our overall financial security. We'll talk about these concepts in more detail later in the program. Another trait of a classic underearner is to feel they are not worth much. They walk into a job interview just hoping and praying that the employer even wants them. If they are offered the job, they'll feel very lucky to have been chosen for the role. They don't approach a job interview thinking the employer is fortunate to meet someone who is as capable as themselves. This is a phenomenon known as the imposter syndrome, and we cover it in depth in Module 3, the power level, quantum competence. Another trait of the classic underearner is feeling as though you're trapped with no control and no way out. You may constantly feel at the mercy of harsh economic winds. If you recognize those feelings, you'll be glad to know that in the work of this module, you'll develop new ways of being and a plan for better control over your personal situation. Classic underearners tend to have dreams and goals they don't follow through on. Somehow they lack the drive or confidence to consistently follow through to completion. In the process of overcoming your under-earning tendencies, you will develop a bias for acting in your own self-interest. a bias for action, is a critical attribute for following through on your goal of achieving financial security. Typically, underearners don't want to even think about money and are unaware of their overall financial situation. So, this is not so much an earning problem, but more a money avoidance behavior. The classic underearner has low self esteem, doesn't want to offend or inconvenience anybody. Underearners tend to be overly generous with their time and prioritize others' needs and wants ahead of their own. They are inclined to feel noble about doing this, and also about living in poverty relative to others in their family or social circle. Classic underearners are also often very hardworking people. In fact, they frequently overfunction. They likely work just as hard or even harder than people who make a lot more money. Ultimately, underearning is a psychological profile not tied to any particular pay scale. It's also not about making a conscious choice to live a low-key, simple life. Underearners would like to make more money so that they can lead bigger lives, but they feel trapped. According to the famous author and expert on underearning, Barbara Stanny, the single biggest predictor for successfully overcoming underearning is the ability to feel uncomfortable. That is, to endure the difficult emotions that will inevitably come up through the process of examining ourselves and taking corrective action. Please know that you will have the support and community you need to push through the discomfort and ultimately succeed. To remind you of the power of using the coming home practice covered in Module 1, Part 3, there's a link in the Module 2, fillable PDF via a link in the description, to Rachel Jane Groover's TED Talk, How to Be Unshakable When All Eyes Are on You. For now, we'll take it one step at a time. Together, we will tackle fear and overcome obstacles. In the next video, we'll cover the concept of femininity itself in the context of underearning. How does power, which is what money is all about, fit in with the definition of feminine, especially as it relates to work? Now, that can be a thorny issue for some of us, and we'll master that next. Reflective exercise. Answer the following questions in the fillable PDF for this module, linked in the description below, or in your own journal. Underearner is the term given to a personality profile that is generally uncomfortable with money and uses dysfunctional behavioral patterns regarding money. Is this something that you identify with? If so, how does that feel, and how do those behavioral patterns show up in your life? Many of the traits that classify someone as an underearner are prevalent in society and are taught to girls more often than boys, which is part of the legacy of gender inequality. Do you have any memories of messages you received about these concepts from your family or the wider society when you were a child? Underearners usually have low self-esteem and feel worthless, which translates into how they value their time and personal worth. On reflection, do you feel that you don't value your time or personal worth as highly as you might? How do these factors show up on a daily basis? Underearners often feel negatively about money itself. They believe things like money is the root of all evil, or that it's impossible to be rich without being an evil person. Do you recall receiving these messages from your parents or people you respected in your community? You can overcome underearning by examining your attitudes toward both yourself and money, and then taking action to address the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors you identify during the process. This process can be psychologically challenging and even cause physical discomfort, but is a necessary part of creating a better, more financially secure life for yourself and your loved ones. How do you feel right now about tackling any signs of underearning you've noticed? Conversely, do you have a picture in your mind of your ideal life that speaks to your soul. Describe where you live, how you spend your free time, and who you share your life with. What do you do for work, or what kind of business or investments are you involved with? Don't be concerned if for now you can't imagine a different way of being in the world. There will be plenty of opportunities to create a life that you love and that you find fulfilling. If this feels overwhelming right now, rewatch your favorite videos from Module 1 and try to practice the coming home technique to feel safe in all situations. In the next video, you will have the opportunity to define what money means to you. See you there.